Hello and welcome to the second look. This is Back of the Net. We're the home of AFC Bournemouth content on YouTube. My name's Sam Davis.
My name's Tom Jordan.
And the international break, it is now upon us, and as starts of the season go, I think we're doing all right, mate. We're certainly above in the league where we thought we would be at this point in time.
Yeah, definitely would have taken it. Definitely would have taken the points total we've got. Probably performance levels as well. I think people maybe look at it a little bit differently because of the nature of that result at Liverpool. I think that aside, a game that we still thought we'd lose, and goal difference aside probably, it's been a really good return. 3 games that we weren't expecting to get anything out of, we didn't. But all the games where we thought, oh, we maybe, we have. And probably one that we thought we wouldn't, we did at the weekend. Because I think Newcastle away was certainly one people were jotting down as a defeat. So I'm pleased, mate, really pleased.
We're not as bad as people thought we were going to be. I just wonder at what point the pundits might be thinking, actually, maybe my predictions are wrong. Look, a lot of them are still expecting us to get relegated, and I think that's probably the consensus with Bournemouth fans. But there's a few games coming up after international break whereby some good performances could change even our own minds about this. So, yeah, it should be an interesting time. So the second look is all about reviewing the previous Cherries game, and it was a big one, not least the journey was long. And do I detect a slightly hoarse voice there, Tom? Do I?
Well, you know how much it's actually recovered since it is awful. I didn't think I'd be able to do this, but yeah, I couldn't really speak on Sunday. Genuinely couldn't speak, which shows it was a decent away day. But yeah, I think might have been to do with Ryan Fraser, might have been to do with the love for Eddie Howe, and it might have been to do with celebrating a really good point. But all in all, take this sore throat, mate. It was yeah, really good weekend, and I genuinely did not. I'm a real positive fan, but I didn't expect us to go there and get something and probably earn the point as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So before we begin, we feel as though we need to tell you about our favourite app at the moment. Of course, as it is international break, the best place to watch the Nations League matches are at your local Greene King pub. They show all major TV games, whether it's on Sky, BT Sport or on Amazon, or Channel 4, as is the case for the Nations League match. England play Italy on Friday, and if you're in and around Bournemouth, well, there's plenty of pubs. The Westbourne,
Broadway, you've got the Spyglass and Kettle.
Yeah, that's true. The Commodore as well, just alongside it. In Poole, there's a few as well, aren't there?
Churchill, Jolly Sailor, Antelope, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, there's a few, and then we've been in and around more nearer the stadium. There's the Richmond Arms and the Brunswick. So options all over the place, mate. And as you say, especially when they've always got the football on, so that's always handy. And tell you what, if you get in there while the footy's on, you put our code in, what can you get?
Well, yeah, a free pint. So look, if you download the Greene King season ticket app, all you need to do is head to your app store on your mobile, Google Play on an Android, and then just start typing in Greene King. You'll probably see it. It's the Greene King season ticket app. It's free to download, and the benefits of the app, as Tom said, a free pint. I'll give you a teaser of what you need to do in a moment, but you get 10% off drinks an hour before, after and during a game for all major televised games. You've got your booking functionality to secure your table on the app as well. There'll be offers dropping throughout the season, but so if you sign up, when you do sign up, in the promotion code section, put BOTN and free welcome drink. Is that right?
Yeah, put it in, just comes up, free welcome drink, and happy days. Go to the bar and get your free drink. So yeah, I mean, it's so easy. Why wouldn't you do it?
How's it free?
It's just free, mate. There's lovely people, and yeah, why not? Get yourselves in there, get a free pint, and then yeah, and there's so many different options, as I say. So just do it. Just do it.
So if you can't make it to a game, make sure you visit a Greene King Sports pub. They are the home of pub sport. It's where the fans go. On to Saturday then. And Alexander Isak, he scored his first goal at St James's Park, but Newcastle remain without a win since the opening day of the Premier League, after being held by a disciplined Bournemouth, a Bournemouth that took the lead through Philip Billing. So Tom, there's the league table. We're 12th. We've got 8 points from 7 games, and it's fair to say that Gary O'Neill, he's instilled a siege mentality with the players that we've got, and we're performing. We're putting in some really good shifts now, and we're looking threatening as well. Sometimes I thought, we look maybe a bit too passive, but at Newcastle we showed flashes, didn't we?
Yeah, absolutely. I think as much as they had all the ball, and we were obviously resolute, hard to break down, all them sort of stuff. I think if you actually watch back some of the highlights, there's some good little chances from us. I think we have a few half chances in the game, and we restricted them mainly to shots from distance, which I think always means you're looking pretty solid as a unit. And I think even Eddie alluded to it, that they couldn't quite get in behind. They were just, hitting shots from here, there and everywhere because we were frustrating them. And that's something that we've done really well. And you've got to remember, Gary O'Neill come in after a 9-0 defeat. Yeah. So to be able to do that so quickly is testament to him and the players. But we're looking at a real tough nut to crack. And that was without our captain, by the way. Sounds like he could be out for a little bit from what we're hearing, which is a big blow. But, we already thought we were short at the back. You lose your captain and, we're still that solid. It was really impressive.
Yeah, it was. And he's not the only player that, of course, is missing. These are the team lineups that we're showing on screen at the moment. But you can also see by the names on the bench, there was another absentee by the way of Ryan Fredericks. But also, before the game, it was alluded to that Gary O'Neill said that David Brooks has had a bit of a setback after feeling something in his hamstring. Look, he was never going to be on the bench. However, that's another player to sort of add to the injury roster, really hoping to see some of these players returning soon, not least the likes of Junior Stanislas, Joe Rothwell, etc. Ben Pearson, of course, was still out as well. But Newcastle, mate, we all expected a tough game away to Eddie. One thing I really noticed in a lot of his pre-match pieces that he did was his, I'm saying this is like it's a surprise, his utter professionalism. Didn't show too much emotion when it came to talking about Bournemouth, but did show us a great amount of respect, but also gratitude for his time at the club as well, and said, I wouldn't be in this position now if it wasn't for AFC Bournemouth. Yeah,
absolutely. Listen, as much as he's been an absolute hero for us, I think he's also knows what Bournemouth have done for him as well. And it was probably as expected. It was perfect, really, in the sense that he was, as you say, very gracious, very positive about all aspects of Bournemouth, but he also knew he had a team that he had to go and get a win for, and that's his team now. And I think equally in the stands, we sang a few Eddie songs and obviously showed our love for him, but equally it wasn't overboard because we knew there was a game to be won, and weirdly both teams were focusing on winning the game, but both cancelled each other out. But listen, we all love Eddie. I think it'll be even weirder when we play him at home, because I think that'll be, we're in the sky, aren't we? So it's difficult to get that kind of thing going, but. Yeah, no, he was great, and I expect no different from Eddie. You know what I mean? All the Newcastle fans have already said on podcasts and bits and bobs that how great he is in front of a camera as well.
So the Newcastle lineup is something we were obviously interested in for reasons which we don't need to go on about. I think it was very clear on the vlog, but there was no St Maximin, which was good for us, but there was a certain ex-Cherries player that took his place as well. What do you think when you saw the Newcastle side as a whole, though?
I mean, it was nearly what I expected. I think in the preview I just got Dan Burn and Botman wrong, so one centre half. But I think the murmurings were that Bruno would be okay, which I was worried about. But it looked like St Maximum and Callum Wilson, it would be too early for them. But I was more pleased that they weren't on the bench. I was worried that St Maximum might be an option off the bench. I mean, he can just change a game with a moment, can't he? So. It was kind of what I expected. I want to give a little apology to Ryan Fraser. Little apology, because I've given him a lot of stick because he didn't turn up for us when we needed him to. But then to be fair to him, first time against us, he didn't turn up either. So, cheers, Roy.
I'm gonna counter that throughout the show with a few points. Look, we all know what we feel about Ryan Fraser, but I'm going to mention a few moments that I think maybe... we don't want to give him credit, but he did okay for Newcastle. But look, we'll get onto that. So, St James's Park, what a grand arena it was, and you know what? You could hear a pin drop before the kick-off when there was the 1 minute silence to the Queen. It was unbelievably observed by everyone in and around the stadium, and then we all sang "God Save the King," and Eddie was donning a suit. I thought, wow, Eddie Howe in a suit during a match? No. He went back and got changed by the sounds of it.
Classy though, isn't it?
What a class act. But look, let's talk about the match. And it started off with the Cherries fans in fine voice. Newcastle fans, they sort of had their moments at the start of the game. Didn't really hear much of them throughout the game. I'm sure our away day review will probably allude to that a little bit more, but it appeared that we were in a sort of 4-2-3-1 formation with Tavernier on the right and Christie on the left. Is that right?
Yeah, that's what it looked like from the start. I think Fredericks' his injury maybe would have change things if he was fit. I kind of expect us to go with a 5, but we won't know now whether the Fredericks injury changed things. But yeah, it looked like, I think Christian Tavernier is nice because they can both quite comfortably play on either side. But Gary O'Neill has liked to use Christian on that left, and I quite like him there. I think he does a good job. And yeah, it looked like a 4-2-3-1. Obviously, Billing getting as close as he can to Slanky during the game. But yeah, I thought it was brave because it wouldn't have shocked me if he put an extra centre-half in there because, you know, Nepham and Senesi have only ever played together in a 9-0 defeat. So it's put a lot of pressure on them against a really talented striker in Isak as well. But yeah, fair play. They obviously, as the game went on, they proved to be a correct decision. But yeah, it looked like a comfortable and a system that we're quite comfortable with. And early stages, I thought we looked in a really good shape, mate.
I thought we did defensively. We looked really good. I thought throughout the game, I found Senesi, and we've seen it a few times where he's being dragged out of position quite often, where he goes and tries to win the ball. He's very bold like that, and you know sometimes he wins it and he gets possession back, but other times we get caught short because of it, which isn't particularly good. But
I thought he improved as the game went on.
100%.
He started a bit shaky.
Yeah, and you know what? Having more performances in a Bournemouth shirt is going to do that for him. So you know maybe for his enhancement of his career at AFC Bournemouth, Lloyd Kelly's injury is probably not a bad thing. And let's face it, he's going to be the first choice replacement for him. So yeah, I thought he got better, and look, you know, defensively, I thought we were pretty good, and you know, Jay-Z was getting up quite a lot. In fact, what I'll do is I'm going to show the average positions throughout the whole game. So maybe I'm jumping the gun by showing this now. So these were Newcastle's average positions, and you can see that they were mainly camped in our half throughout most of it. One thing, when you see the Bournemouth ones, look how high Jay-Z is. Yeah. It's almost like we're playing with a back three there. Him and also Adam Smith as well on the right-hand side, you know, very, very advanced. But he was one that actually impressed me throughout, and you can see that because in the other 14, which is a Twitter account that shows the stats and all the good things about the other 14, Jay-Z's top on assists. Yeah,
and chances created, wasn't it? It was he was creating all the. I think it was over the whole Premier League nearly. He got the most chances created in the game, and as you say, I think
how many was it?
It was 5 on it. Did he create 5 big chances? Yeah, which is really impressive. And I think you got to remember as well that Forest game when we come back, it was taking Jay-Z off, and you know, so really, really pleased for him. But also, I think that's another one that we can go back to Senesi for is. I've always felt Jay-Z's been allowed to get forward because of Lloyd Kelly, how good he is behind him, that he can sweep up, so it allows Jay-Z to go. Well, it showed that Senesi, they obviously trusted him enough to go, Jay-Z can go, because we're happy with Senesi here. And that was really crucial. I think Almiron comes inside quite a lot, which probably helped us. But yeah, Jay-Z was bombing on all day, and they were struggling with him a little bit, which surprised me because Kieran Trippier's hell of a fullback, but Jay-Z was finding really good pockets and creating chances.
To create 5 chances when we've got that little possession actually is very impressive. And I think what also happens is Lewis Cook and sometimes Lerman naturally tuck in as well, so gives him.
And Christie on that left, he's quite happy to tuck, and it just gives him so much space. Right. But that was our outlet, and that
was like one of our first chances where it was a sort of looped cross and then a looped header actually, but that was probably the only way that Tavernier was going to score, by looping the header, because it was a bit too high for him, so he couldn't get as much as he wanted to on it. He got a good contact, but it was just wide of the post.
I've been harsh. I thought he should have done better.
Really?
Yeah, I've watched it back a few times. I think the run's really good, the little dink over the top's really good. But Pope comes out and you think all he's got to do is just either side of that place going, and he hooks it wide. You think a little bit better connection and that could go in. But yeah, probably unlucky he's not exactly known for his aerial attributes, and he done well to make the run in there. But yeah, I look back at that and think, he could have maybe got that in.
Is he a scorer? Does he score goals? Like, did he for Borough?
Not particularly. I mean, he has got goals to his name, but not known as a prolific goal scorer. But having said that, I think that's probably because of his versatility. He's played wing back quite a lot for Borough and played a bit deeper. But he certainly, sounds weird because he hasn't scored for Bournemouth yet, but he's certainly a player I feel could pitch in with a few. Because he gets in some good areas, doesn't he? I think he had another one that we'll come on to later on in the game that he dragged wide. So he gets in the right areas, and I think because of that burst of pace, he will pick up a few goals.
The chances for us were few and far between. I remember Dom Solanke having that overhead kick that was wide, and that wasn't. And other than that, though, we didn't really overly test them. I think Christie had a shot that was quite tame, went along the ground like it was a daisy cutter really into
Christie
the keeper's
tame
arms.
shot, eh?
Yeah. But you know what, Newcastle, they did have chances, but I would say like earlier in the match they were few and far between. Then towards half time, obviously they peppered us somewhat, but they had a nicely worked free kick. I think Trippier was standing over it, and everyone thought he was going to put it in, but he didn't. He laid off to target, obviously a set piece, because at the far post there was someone peeling off. I can't quite remember who. It might have been Almiron. I can't remember.
Yeah, maybe.
The header was easily gathered by Neto though, and then another free kick. Now this was committed, I think, by Senesi, where he comes out and. Makes the foul, and it's in Trippier range.
Anything's a Trippier range, mate. What a player.
And at that point in time, it's right in front of us, and you're sort of thinking, is he going to go, because as we were looking at the goal, is he going to go top right-hand corner to Neto's left, or could he put it in that left side? He went for the left side, but as it is, all day, lads.
Well, yeah,
it didn't covered just about.
On the vlog, you see me with my arm stretched because I was going, oh, well wide, don't worry about it. I looked like, oh, bloody hell, in the post. Yeah. I didn't realise, but he's dead. I mean, Celeste probably doesn't realise, but that's normally probably not the worst foul in the world, but not when Trippier's on the pitch and he gives them that outlet. I've never seen someone be so lethal. I mean, even when it doesn't go in, it's always close, isn't it? That was one we were worried about, but we got away with that one, which I was pleased with. I wasn't sure if it was Neto got a touch, but I think it just come off the post in the end.
And then later, Trippier was in the thick of the action. He took a corner that Billing half cleared, and it met Ryan Fraser on the edge of the box. At that point, the whole of St James's Park were willing him to shoot. He didn't. He played a clever little pass actually to Joe Linton, who sort of side-footed it with his right foot, and it cleared Neto, but it didn't clear the post. It almost came off the inside of the post, didn't it? And then this sparked the crowd into action, and then we couldn't get out of our penalty box, and then Joe Linton. It was a relatively easy save for Neto, I think. However, the way he palmed it out, it was quite a vicious shot. Went straight into the box. Lewis Cook should have cleared better than what he did, and then again a chance came in for Fraser, who. Neto, great save. It was going towards the top right corner, and good save, but a dodgy little spell for us. And I'm sure, as it was after 38 minutes, mate, you saw all of it, right?
On the telly.
Yeah, you did.
But yeah, no, that little melee, wasn't it? It was a real, like you say, just before half time, and that would have been a really horrible time to concede as well. So credit to Neto, and Lewis Cook was a really weird clearance. It was almost like he forgot Fraser had left. He just passed it straight to him, but maybe Lewis Cook thought, he ain't gonna score. No, it's a weird one, isn't it? Because they're saves that your goalkeeper should make. Yeah. But I thought, but he made them at the end of the day, and I think the first one, as you say, is quite a powerful. He could have pushed that right into. He actually pushed it out quite well. It was more Lewis Cook's clearance that brought it back, and then the Fraser one, he just thinks, make sure I get a good palm on this over the bar. So, that was big from Neto and good for us, because since he's come in, he's been good, but he hasn't had loads of saves to make. I think that should be really good for his confidence. But I'm just glad we got in at half-time level, mate, because I think we earned it.
Yeah, I think so, and. The atmosphere was really weird, actually. It wasn't toxic. Newcastle weren't playing bad. They had the bulk of the ball, but Bournemouth our moments were few and far between. It was just a bit of a dull half, really. And that was reflected by a lot of the noise, or lack of it, in the stands as well. Solanke was being kept really quiet. That was really frustrating. His chances this season are going to be few and far between, I think.
They are, and I think the home games is where that's going to frustrate us a little bit more, and I'd like to see us give them a bit more and take games to teams at home. So our next couple of games are at home. So I'll be interested to see how we change it. I'm not going to be too critical on that. I think away from home, teams like Newcastle, I think you've got to be pragmatic. You've got to be hard to beat, and it's going to be difficult for Dom. And he's going to have to drop deep. He's going to be isolated. I think if you get Billing too close to Dom in them sort of games, you're going to lose out a lot in the midfield. And you've got to remember, Bruno's in there trying to pull the strings for him. You've got to be wary of that. So I think Dom would have expected that. And the thing with Dom is, he grafts so hard that he gives us so much, even though he's up there on his own. But he was frustrated, and they had two good centre halves on him. But as you say, mate, they were pretty quiet in the stands, and I think that's credit to us, because we were frustrating them on the pitch and in the stands as well.
And you mentioned Billing there. On the other 14, you can see that in terms of his heading duels won, by the way, 4 out of 5, mate. Changed man.
Brilliant in the air. I've always said that, Billy. Mad. He's got the physique and the size to be able to win headers, and he seems to be doing a little bit better this season, which is good to see. But I think Billing obviously would come on to the fact that he got a goal, but I think in the last few he's really turned up. I think actually under O'Neill he's looked really good, which is good to see, because he's one of them players that I think often gets criticism, myself included, for looking a little bit luxury and laboured at times, and you think, he needs to give us more. But
playing more advanced as well, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely.
Which he's always better like that.
Yeah, it gets the best out of him, and I think the pressures that we create, I think I saw a thing that we've, apart from Leeds this season, we've had the most pressures in the league.
Wow.
And I think Billing probably gets overlooked that he does that quite well sometimes. So I think he getting a little bit closer means that it allows us to have that press higher up the pitch. So yeah, I think hats off to Billing of late. I think he's been really good.
We were still playing this counter-attacking game, and we had a lovely little bit of spell of possession on about 60 minutes, where we were up the pitch. Zamora was playing very high, Christie was up there, and it all culminated with a chance that was half cleared by Newcastle. I think Christie then played to Lermu, then recycled it to the left flank, where it eventually found Zamora, and Phil Billing made that little point, and Zamora, great cross, and Phil Billing just stuck out a leg, and the keeper didn't even move. Well, he got him at the near post.
Yeah,
wow, what a goal.
He was waiting for it to come across, wasn't he? Waiting for to catch the ball, really, and but like you say, Billing's long legs managed to stick a leg out. It was a really tidy finish. But yeah, like you say, the little point from Billing was clever, and Zamora put it on a plate for him. But yeah, it was a weird one. I thought, you know, we're doing really well here. Could we grind out a 0-0? And then, you know, you go up the other end and get a goal. You think this is the perfect away performance if this stays as it is. And yeah, that was a really big moment. And as you say, we actually put a little bit of pressure on them for a spell, and we didn't let them out. And that was really crucial. And I couldn't believe it, mate. Absolutely libs.
Yeah, but like an unbelievable touch, really. It was, you know, look, I don't want to call it by luck or whatever, but it's one of them where it was whipped in, and you just got to get something on it. And you know, I'm sure that Phil Bill will say he meant it, and he probably did, but I think there was an element to it whereby he just almost killed the weight of the ball and just redirected it, and I thought it was very good. Pope just didn't move at all, and I think from his point of view, you know, Billing's got such long legs. When you look at, you know, often you look at the face rather than the player, and he probably thought, well, you know, Billing's miles away from this, he's not going to get it, but when he sticks out a leg, it's about 12 feet in front of him.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't
and then he manages to cut it out, and I mean, that sent the Bournemouth fans absolutely wild, as you can see. Mad celebrations from us. Lucy took a bit of a tumble on the floor. She's got a bruise down her left thigh because she was bundled over. Be careful when you're doing limbs, right? And everyone was saying, Fraser, what's the score? And it was and apparently we came across really loud on the radio throughout. People were saying on Radio Soul and also on Match of the Day, you can audibly hear us singing his name throughout.
Lovely. Yeah, no, I thought it's really hard to work out when you're there, because as I say, you're up in the sky, so it's difficult. You're trying really hard, as you can tell by my voice, to get it across as best you can. But yeah, I did feel when we got the goal and we were chanting Fraser's name, it felt like everyone was involved in that, and it was really loud. So that was great, and obviously, you know, the lead was going to last forever, so we were happy. Yeah,
it didn't though, did it? It didn't last forever. And look, were we caught napping? I don't know. If you actually have a look at this moment where the through ball is to Trippier, we've got like 3, maybe 4 players advancing towards the player who's putting it through, and Trippier was given so much room. Where's the issue here, mate? Where's the problem?
Well, all I was going to say, looking at the image, is we've given Zamora, rightly so, a lot of credit. But maybe him being that advanced and creating that many chances is a massive benefit, but also it means this can happen. With the right pass, this can happen. He can get caught, and Trippier was always going to get forward a little bit more. And I think Zamora would have adapted his game shortly afterwards, which he did, but it comes so quickly after the goal. We were still in the same in that same mindset, and I think he just needs to take a few yards back there to at least, you know, give Trippier something to worry about. But he's in a lot of room there.
And then the ball got fired over by Trippier. He sort of hit it into the ground first. And look, there's been a lot of conjecture. Was it a handball? Wasn't it? At the time, we didn't kind of realise. And we didn't realise because there wasn't much of a crowd reaction. And only 2 or 3 Newcastle players, one of which was Trippier, went up to the referee. So as far as even the Newcastle contingency thought, it maybe wasn't. And even when the referee, Craig Pawson, decided to poo-poo it, he went and grabbed the ball and off to take a corner, like didn't even think twice about it. It was almost a half-hearted claim on his behalf. But when you look at it, I mean,
difficult, isn't it?
It's difficult. That's not usual, is it, to extend your arm like that? And the ball was being fired into the danger zone where you had a couple of Newcastle players looking to get on the end of it.
Yeah, I think the hardest one is what we constantly always say about VAR is, you only change it if it's clear and obvious. But we know by now, Newcastle fans know that as well, it's just not the case, is it? It's just not the case because it's not clear and obvious. But then, yeah, we've seen VAR, so it doesn't surprise me that was given. In my opinion, I'd be fuming if I didn't get that as a penalty. I think Newcastle, from a Newcastle perspective, they definitely deserve a VAR decision going their way.
Yeah.
As I say, at the time, didn't notice anything. But looking back, I think that ball's, the laws at the moment, the modern game, that ball's going into a dangerous area and Lerma's arm stops it. If Lerma's arm ain't there, it goes into the box. It's a hard one to take. When any handball, I think it's difficult when they're quite close. But for me, that's a penalty.
Sometimes I think, before VAR, there was always conjecture and, it usually worked out in the end. And now with VAR, it's basically the same. So why even have it?
I agree.
Because, there's no point. But from what I can see, obviously defenders obviously he's not a defender, but you have to, ideally keep your arms behind your back or at least by your side.
Billion does that later on, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. But what happens was Lerma was kind of pirouetting.
Yeah.
And usually when you pirouette, your arms will go with you. But he pirouetted and his arm went the other way like that. So, and that is not natural.
No, I think...
you look at it like that.
Yeah.
And almost the way he's got a clenched fist almost looks intentional as well. I'm sure it wasn't, but it doesn't look. It was a pen. It was a pen.
I think originally I thought, I wonder if it's just because when he's running, his arms are doing that, so it's just hit. But it's not. You see that back, and it really isn't. But it's a shame. I think the handball one's really difficult. But in our previous game against Forest, we obviously had a decision go against us for a handball against Lloyd Kelly, and that was nowhere near as blatant as this Lerma one.
No.
So once the Kelly one's given and overturned, by the way, that's always going to be given.
There's always a VAR decision that you can compare it against, which makes you think that is not a pen.
Yeah.
So
yeah, of course.
Yeah, but look, I'd have been fuming, and on the reflection of the game, 1-1 is probably fair.
I'd say so.
Probably fair, and really after that, weren't many more chances for them, but that's because we were so defensively solid. I think Joe Linton had a header that was met by Neto really well, but Neto, got to say, he did look really controlled at the back, looked really good, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, and I think again, all that ball they had, there wasn't that little melee that we spoke about just before half time. That aside, I think the fact that we limited them so much was, testament to everyone. And it starts with Neto in goal, and as I mentioned earlier, yes, he didn't make any saves that you wouldn't maybe expect him to make. But I think since he's come in, obviously we all feel for Travs, because I don't think, Travs is a class goalkeeper. I don't think he's really done anything wrong this season. But I think what Gary O'Neill's done is he's gone, we've got a goalkeeper here who's got a lot of experience, international. He's clearly quite vocal. And this might just be what we need at the moment. We're in a bad place. We've just shipped 9. Maybe we need a calming influence in there and that bit of experience and someone he's very good with his feet as well, remember. And I think this was the first game I thought he really showed it. I thought he was excellent, and it was little things at the end because he's known to punch. But 1-1, them last kind of 10 minutes or so, he was catching a lot, and he was really calming us down. And really impressed with him. That was his best performance of the shirt, and I really like him. We've got 2 goalkeepers. Mate.
This is a match where I could have honestly. There were about 4 or 5 players that could have been man of the match. Christie, I thought, worked really hard. He had a chance, obviously, that he should have done better, and I would really like to see him improve on his finishing, because that's the one thing that does let him down. That's one thing I have a problem with, so to speak. But the work rate he does, he grafts so hard, and you can see
Tavernier similar as well.
Yeah, he's such an asset to this team, and what a really good performance by him. I thought he did amazing. Tavernier as well was another one. Jordan Zamora, Neto, Senesi. I can't even remember Chris Mepham doing anything wrong. I mean, he's becoming a really good player for us, isn't he? Really good.
Yeah, absolutely buzzing for him. I think all the ones you mentioned, I think all deserve a mention. You can look at
Phil Bill, of course, as well.
Yeah, and you can look at that midfield three and the pivot in front of the back four. Lerma and Cook were really solid as well. Thought Smithy was good. We can go to a lot of players, but I think on AFCB on the Twitter page, I think Zamora got it, which I understand we've spoke about some of the stats that he pulled up this weekend, and I think obviously massive part in the goal as well. I think I always look at the performance and go, what was I most pleased about? And I go, how we limited them to so little and how solid we were at the back. So for me, I'm going Mepham. I thought Mepham was just got player of the month for us as well. He's been an absolute rock, mate, and
love him.
Yeah, really chuffed for him, and he's doing it at a good time for him as well. He's got a World Cup coming up for Wales, so he could be starting for them. But yeah, I think there was no one that had a bad game. Yeah, I couldn't really say anyone that had a bad game. Even when the subs come on, they all put a shift in. And we don't look any worse off for the subs, which I always think's good. You know what Jayden Anthony's going to give you in particular. And then at the end, I saw Gary Neal say afterwards that at the end he just chucked Stevens on to go, don't let Chris Wood score a header. And I thought that's a clever thing as a manager. You go, they've bought on Chris Wood, so you think, well, what are they going to do? They're going to go more direct now and put balls in the box, put an extra centre half there to win some headers, and Chris Wood didn't do anything. So yeah, really pleased. Spoke to a few Newcastle fans. They probably thought it was a game where Wood could have come on earlier, which I probably agree with. Yeah. I think we were quite narrow and limited them a lot, and they were getting the ball up, particularly to Trippier, out wide. And I thought if they chuck Wood on, they'd get some balls in the box, cause problems. But they probably left it a little bit too late. As we know, that's not really Eddie's style.
Yeah, we brought Kiefer Moore, of course, was brought on Frost. Was that almost just give them something different to worry about, maybe?
I think it was. I mean, it was late on. I think it was one
hold-up play.
Yeah, one hold-up play. The fact that Solanke's probably ran his race now, and he could just give us a little bit more energy up the other end. And also, they're probably going to get a few set pieces, and he's strong in the air. I think that's probably part of it as well. But I think all the subs were right again, which I think O'Neill's actually got bang on in every game he's been in so far.
Yeah,
so.
Really good, really. And we were singing his name just at the players' entrance / exit afterwards. That chant's good, by the way. That chant that you sang was, it was really, really good. And look, we also always love to get your reaction as well. And this was Al Gard's take on the 1-1 draw at St James's Park.
Afternoon, chums. Just finished. I've been watching the game from the bedroom, and this bedroom has seen some serious action this afternoon. Handballs, pressing. Excellent stuff by Bournemouth today. I think Newcastle just they're shot. Eddie's like run out of ideas. That's it. You may as well come back, Ed. You may as well come back. Our pressing today was excellent. We gave them no space, no time. Our second half performance was excellent. Let's have a look at that VAR penalty again. It's one of those, isn't it? They just seem to go against us. Yes, his hand was trailing. Lerman's hand was trailing, but he barely touched it. Oh, for God's sake. VAR, shove it. Anyway, that's a great point. And also nice to see that Fraser has got his money for only doing 70 minutes work today, you low-life little snake. There won't be a poem this afternoon because I'm going to have a nap because that's really tired me out. But hey, happy days. O'Neill, another good audition for the job. Maybe, just maybe. Have a great weekend, Cherries fans. Talk to you soon.
Love that from Algard. Al, our thoughts are with you, mate. Hope all's going okay for you at the moment. And look, that's from his YouTube channel. Shall we get him up to 100 subs? Let's get him up. Come on, more than that, please. The card. There's a card at the top of the screen. Click it right now and subscribe to his channel. It takes literally a few seconds to do. We would love to send a load of subscribers his way because for every match he possibly can, he'll be doing these little 1-minute takes of.
They're really good, aren't they?
They're really good, and yeah, when he does do a poem, absolutely superb. And if you follow Al on Twitter, you'll know all about his situation at the moment. What a top guy, and a cherry through and through. So Fraser, he got taken off on 70 minutes. Clever, wasn't it? Clever. Yeah. When we were all doing the applause for Queen Elizabeth, and we even broke out into God Save the Queen as well. And you get caught up in the moment, obviously, because you're trying to pay your respects. Then you look back at the action again, you're like, where's he gone?
Lack of snakes on this pitch. What's going on there?
Got taken off. Clever.
It was clever from Eddie. Didn't surprise me at all. There's definitely some fault in that. I don't care what anyone says. Definitely some fault in that. But it makes sense. And as Algard well put, we didn't have to do a full day's work as usual.
Didn't have to do a full day's work.
But as you say, joking aside, he was okay, wasn't he? He was okay. We spoke about their limited chances, and he was involved in the majority of them. I think the problem for him is just taking everything away. The fact that I can't stand the Weasel is. He's competing with St Maximum when he's fit, and they're just different levels. They're completely different levels. It was a shame. I did think near the end, I thought, well, might they chuck Richie on for some balls in the box? He's got a good left foot on them, and they didn't. And he would have got a good reception, by the way. I think we'll probably get that one when we play him at home, but it's hard to give Richie a good reception when he's all the way down there on the bench. I think we did do the Charlton chant, winning the league, which got Richie in it for him. But I agree with what Algar was saying. There's some really good stuff, and O'Neill, another good audition, mate. Another good audition. I know,
another good audition. And look, it is sound bites to the press. There's some takeover talk that crept into one of the questions, and Gary O'Neill answered saying probably the only thing they're excited about is a free trip to Las Vegas.
We all are, Gaz. We all are.
We all are. I mean, that could well happen. Look, we'll have more reaction on this potential takeover, I'm sure.
5,000 likes and we'll go to Vegas.
Yeah, 5,000 likes and we'll report from outside Treasure Island. Or
we'll get an Airbnb in Vegas, from Bradford to Vegas.
Yeah. What's this about? I didn't watch the match of the day, but like Neto and Mika had a moment. Mika Richards, who was doing the punditry.
Yeah.
They played together once. Was that right?
They did. Yeah. I didn't realise until.
I didn't know this.
No. Well,
Before.
when me and Steve woke up, we watched it back and we saw that little clip, and then I went, oh yeah, of course. Mika had that spell at Fiorentina in Italy. Mika Richards.
Oh, really? Oh God, I can't remember that.
Had a spell there, which I forgot about. He don't think he had a great time there. But he did pop over there, and it was a really nice thing. It was like Neto was shocked and like, what? He's there, like he was on the telly. It was really weird, but that was a good little moment for him, and yeah, really pleased for Neto. He looks like he's really enjoying himself at the moment, and as much as that sentiment side, I'm always like, oh, I feel for Travs. Yeah. We mentioned a lot at the start of the season before a ball was kicked. We said it is very rare that the goalkeeper that takes the team up is then the goalkeeper for the following season. There's a really weird stat on it. Yeah. And we were like, yeah, but it'll be different with us. We've got Mark Travers, and already Fulham have got Leno. Yeah. Forest have got Henderson, and we've got Neto. All three of the promoted clubs have got new goalkeepers, and that seems to be a common theme, which is really interesting. But Neto's doing really well, and it's a really good place to be, and we've got two really good goalkeepers. So, really good, and chuffed for Neto, mate.
Yeah, so look, we took up some good numbers to St James's Park, and look, credit to everyone that when we made a noise. And speaking of numbers, mate, you're the numbers man. Your tweet seemed to bang. You did a tweet. You did a tweet on Sunday morning or whatever, or Sunday, to say I had a great time. Newcastle fans were class. Over 2,000 likes or something ridiculous. How do you do it?
Stay humble.
Like, give me tips.
It's the Geordies, mate. It's the Geordies. Love them. Great people. And obviously, you'll see, as we've mentioned before in this video, we'll do the away day review, and I'm sure we'll talk about it more there in depth. But I said it when we went to Liverpool, how great some of the people are. But the Geordies are a different level, mate. They're just such nice people. We went on a night out, didn't we? And the fact that they, quite often you think, oh, we're with all Newcastle fans here. The Bournemouth game was on in a certain pub we were in. They were just showing some highlights on that, and you think, oh, we want to be a bit respectful. There's only like a few of us. Yeah. But they're all like, oh, well, I'm bored. And not one person was, disrespectful at all. Lovely.
Yeah, they're a different breed.
Yeah, great bunch.
And you know what? The away day, make sure you subscribe. Because just briefly, talking about Newcastle, you've probably seen a bit of Twitter, because I was driving, Lucy was driving, you were looking at Twitter, and you were, doing some back of the net admin in the background in the car. But did you get a sense of how they're feeling? Is there any discontent? Are there any Eddie mentions? Or are most fans all right? Yeah,
I think you get them. You're always going to get, particularly on Twitter, as we know, you're always going to get them ones that probably don't go to the games as much. Okay. The football Twitter kind of lot that are a bit like, oh, Eddie Howe and all this stuff. But the genuine fans that I think go to all the games, and the ones that are the most vocal on there and going to games seem to be, it was probably their worst performance of the season. Apart from that, VAR's killed them. Yeah. By the way, they should have more points. We know about the Liverpool game, we know about the Palace game. And it depends how you look at it, doesn't it? You go one win, you go, bloody hell, one win. Then you go one defeat. So Liverpool in the 99th minute or whatever it was, they got a point off City as well, and were unlucky not to win that. I think, apart from the Bournemouth game, where I think we deserve credit because we frustrated them, but they weren't at it.
And you've got to think of their injuries as well. Callum Wilson being out, who spearheads their attacks, and Maximin's in and out as well. So, and he would have been crucial to him had he played. Defensively, though, he has made them better, and Newcastle fans have said that. So it's not like an overnight process, and they are still looking top 10 team.
Oh, absolutely. I think
it's not going to be instant.
I think probably the only issue they'll have, or what I see anyway from an outsider's point of view, is we all know St Maximin's class, but when you lose him, it's such a bit. It shouldn't be that much of a bit. And I'm not just saying that because it's Fraser, but they've
balances the side.
Yeah, Fraser's not playing. They've got Jacob Murphy, and then they've got Almiron, who's okay, and he seems to be starting. That right hand side looks a little bit weak. We've got to remember as well, Bruno clearly wasn't 100%. They bought him off, and we know how good he is on his day. And Isak's still settling into the league. I think he's going to be a good striker for him, but we dealt with him well. But yeah, it's just that little drop off maybe, and I think once he gets the squad a bit stronger, but they still look good, mate. They're still, as I say, it's only one defeat, which was to Liverpool. So I think they're okay with it. I think Eddie's got to make sure they're top 10, and I would be sure that they will be. They've got some good players still, and yeah, that's still a good sign. I think, as you say, you know, they had some injuries. I think a lot of people spoke about that, which rightly so. But let's not forget the fact that we were without our captain.
Yeah. Exactly,
we were without our captain, we were without Ben Pearson, obviously we're still without David Brooks, we were without Frederick. We've got some players out as well, and I think, you know, as I keep saying this, the Newcastle game, Forest game, Wolves game, all of them I've said, oh, they weren't as good as I thought, and now I'm thinking, well, maybe actually we're making them look average.
Should we give ourselves some credit?
Absolutely, because I think it's not always fantastic to watch, but I tell you what, we're making it really difficult for teams, and credit to Gary Neal and all the players, because they're just working their nuts off, mate, and we've got a team that we can be proud of at the moment, and yeah, it's really enjoyable, and I kind of don't want the international break.
It's almost like you've answered the title of this YouTube video in that little segment. Were Bournemouth good or were Newcastle bad? I think probably it was a little bit of both, but yeah, we've got to give ourselves some credit, and Gary O'Neill's Barmy Army continues to be unbeaten. Oh, Eddie Howe, Eddie Howe. Harsh. But you know what? It was nice to see him again. It wasn't the extended goodbye that we thought it was going to be. Do you think it'd have been different had Newcastle won? Do you think it'd maybe given us more of an applause?
Very difficult for Eddie. He's just watched his team disappoint and not win at home. If he then goes over and is having this massive, like, you know, kind of appraisal from the Bournemouth fans, just standing there, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. So Eddie's. We briefly spoke to, you know, when we were waiting outside with the team players, to like some of the staff, like Fletch and stuff, and he said he was typical Eddie, he was just really professional, just normal handshake before, and after, you know, they probably had a little cuddle and stuff. But yeah, he's got a job to do, mate. I think it'll be different when he's at our place. But I did see him say that it was very tough for him, very emotional. But you know, he had a job to do, and I think he just would have been more. His mind would have been focused on the fact that he was disappointed that his team weren't as good as he thought they should be.
Fletch, I've got to say, I didn't chat to him directly. I was just standing in the background when other people were talking to him, including Ian Hensman from AFCB Sydney. Really good to catch up with him over the weekend. Loads of ideas for back of the net content, by the way. He was coming up with them in the pub, in the waiting rooms in Newcastle. He was like, "This is a great idea for a video."
Had he had a few? Do you think?
I don't know. He might have. But he chatted to Fletch, and Fletch did a little video shout out to the AFCB Sydney lot. I've got a scarf, by the way. Yeah, that's so nice. Have to get that on a future video. But Fletch was visibly buzzing, and I think if that reflects what it was like in the change room, I think they should be proud with that point. And that surely must give them so much confidence going forward now to 2 games against sides that, you know, are good Premier League sides. I mean, one of them maybe not so much at the moment, but in the next 2 games, we should be going into them with a bit more confidence.
I think it's going to be massive, these next 2. I think, you know, was it Brentford home, then Leicester home, and they're 2 games that will really see. If we go and get 6 points out of that, you're going, bloody hell, we're better than I thought we'd be.
Please keep Brendan Rodgers. Please keep Brendan Rodgers.
But equally, they're still 2 good footballing sides, and we could easily lose them both. So there'll be really big games for us. But from what we've seen at the moment, particularly under O'Neill, we've grafted, we've worked hard. There's been quality at times as well. I think the fear, particularly in that Wolves game, but that was it was a quick turnaround for Gaz. I thought, yeah, we got the basics right here and we're hard to break down. But can we offer something at the other end? Forest, we scored 3 away from home in one half, and we've just, as we spoke about there, they had all the ball, Newcastle, but we nearly had just as many decent opportunities as them, really. So we're offering something at the other end as well. So that's really impressive. I think what's going to be interesting is, we've had, under O'Neill, we've had a Wolves game and a Newcastle game where we were resolute and we had to be, and then a Forest game where we were 2-0 down, so we just chucked the kitchen sink at it, and it worked. I think 2 home games where the crowd are going to be a little bit more expectant to try and attack. Yeah. That's what I'm intrigued to see how we set up, and if, you know, the likes of Tavernier, the likes of Billing, do they get closer to Dom? Does Dom get a little bit more support and a little bit more to feed off maybe? It'll be really interesting to see, mate. But we're in a good place, and I'm surprised. I'm really surprised, but I'm enjoying it, mate. Really enjoying it.
Speaking of surprises, we may be dropping a surprise this week on the channel. Maybe, do you call it a surprise? I think from our perspective, we think it is. Some people say it isn't a surprise. We'll let you decide at the time when we put out the video. But yeah, really appreciate your company for the last, how long have we been on air, mate? Just about 46, 47 minutes. Thank you so much, really appreciate it. And look, yeah, make sure you do all the good things by pressing like, subscribe and all that stuff. And remember, the Newcastle Away Day show is coming next on this channel. Should be a good one. Up the Cherries.
Up the Cherries.
See you in the next one.
Will he ever lose?